All right, what's going on, people? This is Shy Harris, and this is
L Harris.
And this is another edition of Keeping It Light, and this is our Harris Month of Love. So today we're actually going to be talking about our whole engagement and the things that we kind of took away from that, as well as our wedding. We might touch on our wedding a little bit. So, what you got?
So, Rashad doesn't really want to do this episode. He doesn't feel very lovey today. So, I'm going to kind of lead. So, last week we talked about the importance of dating with intent and things like that. So, now we're moving on into the engagement period. When you finally decide that this person is someone that you would like to spend the rest of your life with and you propose. So, that proposal process for women, I know especially for me, I thought it was very important that Rashad spoke to my father and to get his blessing.
But I don't think you ever talked about me actually talking to your dad.
I definitely, if I didn't, I just assumed you would know that. Like, why wouldn't...
I don't think a lot of men know that. I mean...
Why wouldn't they know that?
I don't think a lot of men know that.
So why wouldn't a man know to talk to someone's father who's actively in their life?
I feel like if a man doesn't really think, for all the guys that never thought of themselves getting married, they probably don't know that that's part of that process.
I'm sure they've watched a TV show before in their life.
But they might, I'm just saying, I know a couple guys who didn't do that and they didn't really think it was that big of a deal.
So what made you do it then? How did you know to do it?
Because I knew I was going to get married one day. I understand this process.
Okay.
But I'm not like all the other guys out here.
See, I don't think that all guys are like that. I would think that
there's a lot of guys out here who never thought about themselves getting married. So they don't really think of, they just like, oh, I've been with her for, the guys that probably been with their woman for like 10, 15 years and just now think about getting married.
I don't think that has anything to do with the two. I don't think the idea of never getting married voids out the idea that you should go and speak to someone's father about asking for their hand. Like, I don't think that those two things go together.
I definitely think so. I definitely think so.
So most of your friends that you can think of that are married, have any of them asked their...
Yeah, all of them did. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of men.
You gotta know people to say that. You can't make a strong statement and say there's a lot, and you can't.
I know a couple guys I used to work with who just like, all right, me and her been together. They didn't even do like a proper proposal. They're just like, all right, well, here's a ring, or we getting married. So do you think those guys? I know a lot of guys who did that, and I constantly say they
now, probably with that statement that you said, do you feel like their families may have seen it as like disrespect, that they had never, like, they had been together so long, it's almost like you've already taken away the point of like marriage, or that spice of like, you know, getting married and living together. You've just been doing everything you want anyway, so it's just like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I've been with you for 15 years and then one day you say you get married, it's like the hype of seeing two people united at that, you know what I'm saying, kind of goes away. So do you think that played into it? Like, was it a long period of time? Like you said, they've been together for a long period of time. So do you think that kind of played into it?
I don't think so.
Because I feel like...
I still feel like when a man does that, it's still just a formality of, you know, bringing her dad or her father figure to the side, or her mother, and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to get your blessing to do that. See,
and I disagree, because just knowing my father, I know we would have been dating for 15 years, and then you went to my father and was like, you know, I want to marry your daughter. My dad would be like, you've been disrespecting me this long, so why are you asking me now?
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's 100%. I know what my dad would have said.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like the longer it is, especially for men who are actively in their daughters' lives, I think they would have a bigger problem with you just playing house, as some people call it, you know, with their child, and not doing right by them. Like, give her all the responsibility and respect that it takes if you're going to be with her on that level and live with her and all of this stuff and possibly even have children. Why not give her all of those, you know, duties and respects that she deserves? Yeah. So I think for some fathers that might be a problem. So do you think that men should be asking their fiancés?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, because we live in 2021, there are some women who propose to men.
I don't think that really is a thing.
It is. It happens.
It might happen, but it's not a thing like that.
It happens. So with women who do propose,
Do you know somebody who proposed to a man?
I see it on social media.
But do you know somebody?
I actually do.
Say their name.
I would not dare.
Say their name.
I would not dare say their name.
Okay.
But the guy turned them down.
Okay.
So in that case,
As they should.
No, I don't think he turned her down because she asked. I think he turned her down because he just didn't want to get married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think she thought that if she asked him, it would kind of speed the process up a bit. And
But now they're just not together, probably.
they're still together. They're still together because she's just still waiting.
Have some respect.
Really? I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's just kind of still waiting for him. But in that sense, do you feel like a woman should ask?
I feel like a woman should never ask. Like, I mean, there's really nothing I can say. There's really no other answer. Yeah, you should never ask. Like, you should probably, plant tips that you want to get married, and if it doesn't happen, you got to be prepared to move on.
I 100% agree. So, after the engagement, do you feel like it's important to have a full, pomp and circumstance of an engagement? Like, does it need to be a big theatrical moment? Can it just be something intimate at the house at dinner? Does the date play an importance? Because I feel like it's very important the date that you propose to someone.
I personally don't feel like the date itself is that important. And I feel like you have to know your partner. I feel like you really have to know your partner, because I feel like some women will be like, downplay it because they might never had a guy do anything super over the top for them. So they're like, well, it doesn't really matter. We can do something small. He could propose to me in our living room while we're watching TV and everything be fine. But I feel like women only say that when there's a small percent that actually probably believe that. But most women want the big to do about it. They want to feel special. They want to feel like, that man put time and energy into kind of planning something wonderful. So I always believe in surprises anyway. So I'm always down to kind of do something a little bit big, something a little bit more over the top. Because I feel like, even though you might say you're not into it, I feel like you might hate surprises, but you still like grand gestures, I feel. So I feel like every woman loves a grand gesture. So saying that you want to spend your life with somebody is the grandest gesture, but you also need to make that, feel special.
Okay. I agree. I think that's important. The reason why I say the date is important, this is my personal opinion, I do not believe in proposing to people on Valentine's Day, Christmas, any holidays, or anybody's birthday. I feel like that's very selfish. I think that people should have their own individual days to celebrate who they are on their birthday, celebrate the holidays, all of that. But I feel like it should just be a random...
But do you celebrate... I know you do. But do you celebrate that day after that?
I do.
Yeah, you do. I know you do, but
I think it's a very great day, April 28th.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you make it such a thing as Valentine's Day, Christmas, I got to share this day now. I want to be able to say on this particular day, in this particular month, this happened. Yeah. So I think it's very important to separate things. And I just think it's selfish to make someone share a day.
Okay.
Because people don't really get married on those days. There's some people that get married on New Year's Eve and things like that. But even that, I just feel like everything should have its own day. That's just my thought.
Okay.
So, all right. So now you're engaged. The pressure. Even though you've probably talked to your significant other about getting engaged, are you still nervous that they may say no?
I don't believe so. Because I believe by the time, for men anyway, men are the only ones proposing what should be. Women stop proposing. By the time you get to that level, you probably already had conversations. You probably already kind of even thrown it out there in conversation, when we get married in a couple of years, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, we're going to buy a house. So you already planted those seeds in your head. So I feel like they're not going to say no.
Okay.
But you still get nervous because I feel like it's more so nervous, not in the fact that she's going to say no, but more so in the fact of, am I making the right decision?
Okay.
And is everything completely over with or anything like that?
Have you seen every side that you need to see?
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Like, this is like literally about to change my life. Am I doing the right thing?
That's deep.
So,
That's deep.
because one of our friends got married a couple months ago, and I could just hear the cracking of his voice, like, did I do the right thing?
Oh.
And I feel like he did, so, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So, I like that. I remember the engagement. I think we're talking the same friend, but I love the engagement because, like, when he said it, it was so much emotion. Like, it was funny, but it was just so beautiful at the same time. Like, it moved me, and to see a man like move to emotion, regarding their spouse, or the person they love, I just think that is the most beautiful thing. So, like, when you're able to see, like, I've seen people get engaged, before, but it was nothing as special as that moment. I really loved it. So shout out to them. But all right, so now we're moving from the engagement. Do you feel like there is a time frame? Because I remember after you proposed, you told me to leave you alone for a month. Do you feel like men should?
Yeah.
Why though? Why?
Because women didn't have to plan everything that went into this.
If they had a big engagement
but even
proposal, it could have been something small.
But even if a man had to go out and buy a ring and get his nerves up, you kind of need at least 2 weeks to decompress. You had to, if you did it right, you planned the engagement, you had to schedule things with friends, logistics, you had to buy a ring, you had to do all the stuff. You've been preparing for this day. You can at least give a man 2 weeks.
Okay.
A woman didn't have to plan. Most women have been waiting for this day all their life, so they like, okay, now it's like go time. Let's do this. Let's find a date. Let's find a venue. Let's find a dress. Let's do all this. Who's the flower girl? Who's the maid of honors? Who's gonna be my bridesmaids? Like, all this stuff happens real quick, and most of it's already thought out. But a man's like, yo, it's been a lot.
My only thing with that is you asked for 2 weeks, but you don't really do anything. You ain't really do nothing, so I don't even know what you needed that month for.
Right, so you gave me a little bit more.
I gave you a whole year.
Okay.
So women, don't listen to that. You don't need no giving them a break. They don't even do anything for real.
But you still gotta be a listening ear.
That's it. They a listening ear and they eat the cake when you go.
Yeah, you gotta eat the food.
The taste testing.
But yeah. Other than that, we chilling. It's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so this is a stressful time. Now, what I do believe, I do think it's unfair that men kind of check out. Yes, we want to be able to plan things, but just pretend to engage us.
But what if, all right, so on the flip side of that.
Let me finish. Pretend to indulge. That doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, you want roses? No, we're going to do lilies. You don't have to say that. It's like, okay, you want, and remember that I said I wanted roses. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to give me your full input. I just need you to engage with me or pretend at least that you are a part of this process.
So would you prefer a man to be fully engaged in the process?
Yes.
But
fully engaged doesn't mean you got to make every decision. I just need you to be there.
But fully engaged means that some of my input is going to be in there too, though.
How about this? Actively listen. Is that better?
So it's like you want somebody to be engaged, but you don't want them to have their input. You still want to be your day.
That's not true. You had some input. You only inputted the things that you wanted to.
There's only certain things I really cared about.
Yeah. And that's all you wanted to be a part of.
But that's like 25% of the day.
That's okay, but you got it.
But what if I was like a groomzilla, like, all right, this is what I want.
Okay, then we would just talk about it.
And this is like 80% of the day. Like, I want, all right, we're doing drapes. Okay, I need some velvet drapes. Who gonna be singing? I got a couple singers lined up. You know, who's gonna be doing the sermon? I got that person already. Somebody who, baptized me when I was a kid. Like, what if I had all that?
See, I don't think there's a problem with that, especially if, like, you're serious about it. Like, if you're seriously and we can have a conversation, that's the whole process, because you're engaged. Now you're learning to make big decisions together that cost a lot of money.
What if it's not together? What if it's like, all right, this is what I want, right? So when I come in,
you definitely want to make things together.
When I come in, boom, spotlight on me as I walk down the aisle. All black, spotlight on me. I walk in, everybody else swoop around me, and then the bride comes, and we let her rock out for a couple minutes, but then spotlight back on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay.
So, yes, please engage. Rashada's being extra right now, but I think it's very important that you engage, like on because it's hard, especially when you're planning a wedding. Not only people tell you all the time, weddings and funerals are almost the same in the planning process. People are going to ask a lot of questions. People want to give you their input. They want to invite their friends and family, and they don't want to help pay for nothing.
Okay.
So you just have to be very careful with that process. Now the wedding.
Let's rewind a little bit. I can't talk. But what about counseling, wedding counseling?
Oh, yes.
Marriage counseling, excuse me.
I think that is extremely, extremely important. Aries is trying to jump up here. But I think that marriage counseling is very important. I will always stand by the fact that our marriage counseling was amazing.
Except for that 1 week.
And now that you said that, I can't say where we had our marriage counseling.
We was at the Mount, and we had group couples counseling. But the 1 week that I hated, which I thought was going to be a popping week because we were talking about sex, our regular people weren't there, and there was some older people there, and I hated what they talked about.
You are so wrong for that. But yeah, so I think that I have a lot of feelings about that, but I'm not going to be messy, so I'm going to let that go. But I definitely think that the people that we had every other week was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
They were amazing. It's just that 1 week we had some people that just probably they were just a substitute. You know how substitute teachers, when your favorite teacher always come through and then that mean substitute teacher comes in and you're just like, what? Why we got her today? Right. So it was that situation. All right,
but what do you think about, why is marriage counseling important?
I think it's important because in our situation, like I feel like we had an unorthodox marriage counseling. And why it was so important to me is because the people who were our main facilitators, they had both cheated on each other before. They had seen like really, really good times and really, really bad times. So to be able to learn from them and hear their stories and then be able to bring that into our own, like that really helped. Because I think a lot of times when you go to marriage counseling, it's more so the facilitator or the counselor like telling you, asking you 2 questions, but you're not getting input. And the way ours was set up was in a group style. So not only were we able to hear from the counselors, we were able to hear from everyone that was there.
Yeah.
So that was just amazing to be able to like get that input, and especially at different age groups. Right. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it's important because after you leave class, you get to go home and talk about like, what'd you think about this? Yeah. Do you think we need to do this? Like things like we talked about knowing your 4, like knowing your last 4 generations. No one's ever told me to do that in life. Or before we got married, no one ever said, like, y'all need to figure out, know about your last 4 generations in your life. Yeah. Like, what was your grandmother like? What was your great-grandma? So those type of things that you just don't think to ask. Generally, you think about finances.
Right.
Sometimes health, things like that. But you don't think about, like, things that may pop up because these are generational things that have been happening for years in your family. What was your favorite part of marriage counseling?
To me, it was just kind of hearing other couples kind of say, what they're going through or, things like that. I really, in hindsight, I don't really have too many takeaways. I know I enjoyed it, but it's not anything that I really like, okay, this really stood with me. Mm-hmm. I think the importance of marriage counseling is usually 9 times out of 10, when you're in a couple and you're in a relationship, you really don't have some of these conversations that are vital to have a healthy marriage that you would normally have within, marriage counseling. Mm-hmm. Like I said, understanding like the generations before you and seeing what are the generational curses that are in your family that you might be able to ward off or try to push it aside. Or, just understanding money, how you're going to, like, raise children, how you're going to, like, discipline children. What are, like, different roles within the marriage that you're going to occupy? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't have those conversations. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, if you have a good marriage counseling, that is a time when those conversations kind of pop up, and it's something that you need to kind of have a talk about.
Okay. Good. So, and yeah, because it's like that person who balances things out. Like even if you are,
right.
mixed on something, this person gives you like an unbiased opinion on like,
Right.
Yeah. So I think marriage counseling is super important. I also think it's important, especially if you go to a family church, to not go to marriage counseling to somebody in your family. I think that automatically,
or somebody that you've known for a while that's like family.
Exactly. You need to go to someone who doesn't know you, so that it can be completely non-biased, and you can both fully like open up and say that. I always feel like it's easier to open up to someone I don't know than somebody I do know.
Yeah.
So I shout out the Mounts. I don't know who does it now, but when we were there, we were just fortunate enough to have the best. So I shout them out for having that set up with how they do the marriage counseling.
Yeah.
So after marriage counseling, now we're on to and hold up, our marriage counseling was like 12 weeks.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was pretty long. So yeah. So I just want to throw that in there too. All right. So marriage counseling is over. The wedding is paid for. Are we there? Are we at the wedding now?
Yeah.
The wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember our wedding. I remember, trying to think of the things that I do remember. I remember lighting the candle and my veil almost coming off.
Yeah. I remember we couldn't light the candle because the lighter didn't work.
We can't lift it up. Because every time we lift it up, the flame would blow out.
Oh, yeah. So my dad had to come up there with his lighter and light it.
Then we blew it out again.
Yeah. I remember I was about to cry when Elle was walking down the aisle, and then I saw a hairstylist who had a fitted on and shades, and I was like, yo, who the hell is this nigga here? Like, I'd never seen him before, and why he has having one fitted at my wedding? And then the tears just slowly absorbed back into my eyeballs, and then I was ready for game time. I remember being nervous as hell, like when people were walking in, I was in like the lobby, like pacing, and I was like just. Like,
what were you pacing for?
I don't know, I was like greeting people. I was like, hey, how's everything going? You go down here,
You were the usher?
I was definitely an usher at my own wedding. So I was like telling everybody, like, hey, go over there, get you some refreshments and everything. All right. Then I knew I was nervous. And then I had to take like 2 or 3 shots, and I was kind of straight.
I was so peaceful that day. I think the best thing for me, which is I recommend to all women, on the day of your wedding, get rid of all of your bridesmaids. Do not let them sleep in the room with you the night before. Like, do not let them be around you. Be around the people who are doing your makeup, helping you get dressed, and that's it. You will see your bridesmaids when you get downstairs. Because Lord knows, had I been in that mix, I probably would have snapped that day. Because I had it up to here with some of my bridesmaids, and just, I could not.
Yeah.
So the blessing was, that morning, they got dressed in a different room, and then I got dressed by myself. Mm-hmm. And so I was just I think the only person was my maid of honor. She was there. Mm-hmm. But, and then my mom and my sister-in-law. So that was just like a calming, peaceful, people say. So even when I went downstairs, I thought I was going to cry. Like, even when I saw my dad, I thought I was going to cry, but he was just kind of like chilling and cool.
Yeah.
So I was chilling and cool. And, yeah.
Name that to myself.
Yeah. And so that was the wedding.
So what is something that you wish you could have done differently in regards to the wedding? I
wish we would have gotten married on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm. People definitely left early because it was a Sunday afternoon.
And it was daylight savings time that day.
Yeah.
So they lost the hour. I would want it to be on a Saturday, but I was still wanting to be 3/10/13 because I just like that date. Mm. So I just wish that day could have been on a Saturday. Yeah. But I wish that was different. Let me think of what else. That would probably be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I wish I wouldn't have had as many bridesmaids because I ain't friends with half of them.
You're only friends with like 2 of them and your cousin.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, 1, 2. Jamie, Kim, my cousin.
Yeah.
Everybody else gone.
Yeah. So yeah, I think if I could have done it differently, I would have definitely, like I said, had it
Same
on
with Rashad,
Saturday.
though.
Yeah, I would have had it on Saturday. I think it really wasn't like I probably would have planned more for a party, even though we got a lot of great gifts. There was a lot of people there that I don't really talk to. I still like hardly ever talk to. So I would have much rather it been like a more so a party than just getting great gifts.
I feel like it really. I feel like for you, this is my opinion. I don't really feel like you had a control of your list. I feel like you invited your mom's friends, like your mom's family.
I invited people in my family who I don't talk to, but I've known, for all my life. I was gonna say for years.
Your family.
No, but it's not necessarily people that she like told me to invite.
But it was like more. It was your mom's family.
Yeah, because my dad's family.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It was your
Yeah.
mom's family. So there were people I've never seen, people that still owe us some money because they didn't show up.
Yeah.
And outside of that, you may have had 5 work friends.
Yeah, when they all said the same thing.
Yeah, and everybody else was your mom's friends. Like I invited all of my people.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it was a little bit different for me.
Yeah.
I was able to invite all my friends, like my coworkers, like people who've been very important in my life.
Yeah.
I only invited a little bit of family, like people who actually I had conversations with.
Right.
Because, of course, like when you're playing that part, everyone's calling like, oh, I didn't get an invite.
Yeah.
I ain't talked to you in 12 years.
Right,
Why would you get an invite? So, and it ain't nothing personal. It's just a wedding, some cake. That's what my sister likes to say. It ain't nothing personal. It's just going to be some cake. She likes it's going to be me, D, some cake, some chicken, and a little bit of dancing. That's it.
Yeah.
So, shout out Derby. Yeah. But yeah, so I think for me, I thought that was very important to have people there.
She used to say, it ain't nothing personal, it's just numbers.
It's just numbers. Ain't nothing personal, it's just numbers. So yeah, so those things are very important to me, just to have people there that, I can remember that day with.
Yeah. I definitely think we're going to end up redoing our wedding.
Yes, but...
And doing something crazy. Maybe a nice little island or something.
No.
Oh, I want to do it on the island.
We just talked about this the other day. We're going to Paris.
Oh, I mean, somewhere that's not here.
Yeah, so 10 years.
Yeah.
You want to come?
That's like
It's
2
just
years.
numbers. If you want to come, it's just numbers. But yeah, so I definitely want to redo it because I feel like I want to have that fun part of it. I don't care about so when we got married, like those dancing videos and all of that stuff, it wasn't like hashtags that really just came out for weddings. So all of that stuff wasn't important as it is now. I do hate that. So when we got married, we didn't have to hire a videographer because the people we went through to do like our draping, our chandeliers and all, they loved our wedding design so much that they volunteered to hire a professional videographer to shoot our wedding. Cool. Like they showed up at the wedding and had like lines draped and cameras slide in different places and all of this stuff. Unfortunately, the owner of the company that we went through for our lighting and the people, the videographer company, they had it out. And so when they did, we lost our video.
Yeah.
So that part sucks. So that's the only thing I wish we could have had was our video.
Yeah, okay.
But outside of that, marriage was good. And the last thing I want to say is first day after the wedding, when you woke up the next morning, how did you feel?
Slightly hungover.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. But then I just like, oh, I'm actually married. Like it took me a while to get used to saying like my wife. Like I think I told somebody like, yeah, it's my girl, my fiance, but it was like, oh, my wife. Like that just feels kind of weird. And I was playing around with my ring like all day. Like I was spinning it on tables and stuff like that. So that just felt real awkward. But I was cheesing a lot, I was smiling a lot. It was like, oh, I can't believe like I just did this. I literally just changed my life in a day. So it was just weird. What about you?
I think I felt like I was gonna have a panic attack. I've never made any like long-term decisions in life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh snap, I just made a long-term decision. Like
Right.
this is forever. So it was shock. And then a week later, my father cut me off. So
Yeah.
he was like, "You married now. You don't get stuff."
Yeah.
And he cut me off financially. He took his credit cards and everything.
Yeah.
That was painful.
It's okay.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is wedding and marriage, the first day, and the engagement. So I say do things the way that you would like to. Don't do stuff for Instagram. Don't do things for your family. Do it for the two of you, because you're the ones who have to remember those memories, you know, and have things last forever. And whatever you do, not even saying this to plug Rashad, but you definitely need a videographer, because I promise you, you don't remember the things that happen unless they're bad. So having someone capture that moment is so, so important.
Right.
So, any last words?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Until next week.
Bye.